Good morning. We missed you last time, so we want to see you in double face.
I'll log in twice this time.
So that's your tent.
It's my mosquito net.
Wonderful. Good to see you after a long time.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Hi, Anshu. Good morning.
Good morning.
Jolly good morning, and thank you for always making ISOC Live happening and, broadcasting everything, so beautifully. Adrian, can you hear me? I am not getting any response from you.
Hello, Osama. Sorry, I missed that. My microphone wasn't working well, but now I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Wonderful. Good. Thank you very much. So you have logged in from Singapore?
Yes, greetings from Singapore, everyone.
Wonderful. So Jenny, do we have your permission to start?
Sorry, my internet connection is a little, I don't know. We can start.
Can you nudge Sarbani also to see where have we left her? Okay, great. Wonderful. Good morning, everyone. This is Osama Manzar. This is the 4th episode of Community Network Exchange 2022. This is not an easy thing to do. Usually we do online events for once or twice and all that, but this time we committed ourselves to do 5 episodes of sharing a series of practitioners of community networks, various parts of the world. And last 4 episodes where we had experienced 9 community networks, live talking to them on video, going onto the site or somebody talking from the site. We are now in the 4th one where we are going to go to 3 locations. And all the people who are on those locations are also present there. I will start with a invitation to Amir and Adrian and Gary and Anshu and Imani and Mike to one by one introduce yourself. First, I would like to invite Amir Hayat Bhandara, who is the co-founder of Agriculture Republic from the Punjab province of Pakistan, to introduce himself and give us a 2 minutes intro where he is talking from before we get onto the video.
Thank you very much, Osama. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever people are. And I think introduction you've already done. So thank you for briefly introducing me. I'm Amir Bhandara, and by profession, I'm a farmer. And we founded, me and my partner, Agriculture Republic. That's a policy think tank, and we work for the farming community, particularly for the small farming community, to help them to cope with the challenges of the current world. And there was an idea of the digital data, which we were going to introduce to your audience today, to help actually the farmers who are not connected. So in this world where I am sitting in that remote area where even the 2G networks are not working, and I am talking to you, and I think my connection is more powerful than you were sitting in a very urban area or with a strong connectivity. So this is the thing that's why the farmers around the world I'm not talking about just Pakistan, the people living in remote areas, even in the developed countries like US, Australia, or Europe, they are not properly connected with the world. So basically, through digital data, we try to connect the disconnected people with the world, with the markets, and help them to cope with the challenges and and face different challenges in the agriculture communities, in the agriculture landscape, to increase the productivity, to feed the global, expanding global population with a lot of challenges like climate change, global warming, these type of today's challenges. Thank you.
Wonderful, Amir. Thank you very much for that brief introduction. And ahead in the line, we will be talking to Amir Hayat and his area of community, how they are using community network in a little while. But let me introduce Gary, who is in Malaysia. Gary, can you introduce yourself in 2 minutes?
Okay, thank you, Osama. Welcome everyone. So I'm Gary from Cebu, Sarawak, Malaysia. So Cebu basically just we call it the east side of Malaysia, because Malaysia we have been on the west side and the east side. So we are on the east side of Malaysia, separated by the South China Sea. So basically I'm helping the indigenous people in Cebu, especially in Bawah Asan, the Iban community, to set up this community network for them to use it as a promotion for tourism, because they need to have a presence in the network, in the internet as well, so that they can promote the tourism. And also at the same time, they want the connection so that they can be, talking with their children who are not around in the longhouse. Later, I think we will be having those video, then we can see how the setting of the longhouse. The longhouse is really long. About 15 families staying together, 100 over 50 people are in the same house, separated by the doors. So yeah, this is my work. I think Adrian have been there as well. Yeah, I think some of us been there. They will understand how the longhouse like. Yeah, hope to.
Thanks, Gary. Gary is from University of Technology, Sarawak, and let me tell you that you're going to really enjoy the ground reporting when we are going to see those longhouses. May I ask Mike to introduce himself? Mike is sitting with LockNet, which is a special program by APC, and he is really helping hundreds of community networks all across the world. But Mike, please.
Thanks, Osama. Yes, hello everyone. Great to be here. I'm actually South African, but I'm based in Portugal most of the time and some of the time in Brazil. So I work, as Osama said, with the LockNet program of the Association for Progressive Communications, which is a global membership organization supporting a range of digital equity issues. And the LockNet program is the one that's supporting I guess we could call it grassroots connectivity initiatives around the world, mainly in the global south and mainly in rural areas. So a number of our members, including DEF and a variety of other organizations in Asia and also Latin America and Africa, are now starting to help small local communities build their own networks. So we try to support that process, not only on the seed support stage in terms of getting the equipment to get going, but also in terms of the policy changes that are necessary to make it easier for community networks to start up and to be sustainable. And then also on the capacity building side with our School for Community Networks. And then, of course, on the technical and innovation support, where we try to look at new technologies and how they might help small community networks. So, for example, testing satellite links like Starlink and long-distance Wi-Fi links, for example, and also the ancillary equipment. We're working on an interesting project now to support solar-powered base stations, for example, for GSM networks and for Wi-Fi networks. But I'll leave it there because there's so much to talk about in this session. Thanks, Osama.
Wonderful. Really, APC has, done a huge amount of catalyzing work in terms of exciting people to do last mile connectivity and feel proud of it. It's not be apologetic that, in the corner of the world, you are doing some kind of frugal connectivity and, the world doesn't know about it. So we have a lot of tasks and half the world is still unconnected. So we really have a huge amount of responsibility. Can I go to Adrian to please introduce yourself? And thanks to Raj that introduced Adrian to join from ISOC.
Thank you, Osama. Hi, everyone. Good day. So happy to see all of you. I'm Adrian. I'm one of the team leaders of the Community Networks team at the Internet Society. Many of you will know about us and the work we do because we have been working with many of you throughout the world for more than a decade now to help close the digital divide. Essentially, if you're new to us, no problem. We see at the Internet Society, we see the connectivity gap left unserved by conventional internet service providers or telecommunications companies. And if we don't do anything new, if we don't look at it from new angles, these billions of people will remain unserved if things don't change. And that is why we support all kinds of complementary access solutions to help connect these people. And we have been in the space for more than a decade now, working from the very start with Osama and DEF, and now we have a global network of partners, including Agriculture Republic. Really happy to see you. And so we have big plans for the coming years. We have joined recently the ITU's Partner to Connect to amplify our impact. We've pledged to train 10,000 people and to build 100 networks by 2025. We hope to work together. We hope to get you on board. We hope you'll be part of this. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And we recently had a huge gathering also with the ISOC community, online meeting. That was wonderful. Can I go to Imani? Imani, can you please introduce yourself and also, MacNet?
Hey everyone, greetings to you all from the South Pacific. I'm located in Niue, somewhere between Cook Islands, Samoa and Tonga. So you might know us in one of those areas, about 3 hours north to the other side of New Zealand. So we're Kiwis, hold that passport as well. For myself, I've been working in internet since late 90s. I started my own business here in 99, supporting the local ISP, which was then run by domainname.nu. And after years, it developed into what we have now called Kanu. So I acquired the company in 2016. And then in 2014, I was in New Zealand, lived there for several years until end of 2020. While I was in New Zealand, I also started up a company called MacNet that provides internet to our Pacific people that live in New Zealand, most of them in Auckland. For the island here, we have 1,600 people who live permanently on the island. There's about 30,000 of us living mostly in New Zealand, Australia, and some in America, and maybe 4 in the UK. So we know almost everyone here. The problem that we do have is that there wasn't any internet services for us on the island. There is a fiber cable to the island now through Manatua that connects to the Southern Cross from the US down to New Zealand, Australia, and then on to East Asia. Although that's been available since last year, there's always been a reliance on satellite technology, and we've been doing C-band technology, but mostly through the more expensive ones. Back in the day, I used to remember we were paying 3,000 US for 1 megabits per second, and we had 4 megabits spread across the island for 600 people on the internet. It was really, really slow, but thank goodness there was hardly any social media as such today. So now the demand is really high, So we still continue today to offer the services to the people through what some of you might know as Pacific, a newer satellite provider, much cheaper for us. And we have been watching our horizon for Starlink as it comes across, looking at maybe 2023. We were promised 2022, but now we had to wait another year due to all the logistical problems of all the lockdowns. So looking forward to that, new technology and always improvising and improving as we go. So looking forward to do the presentation later on, but that's us for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. So last another 1 minute and then we get on to doing the case study. Anshu, can you please introduce yourself? Anshu is not one of those who have done community networks, but he is not going to sleep without having one done. He has been behind our life. He lives in a very, very remote village, indigenous community village in Chhattisgarh. And he has been insisting that we must connect. And Anshu, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, good morning all. And my name is Anshu Osman, and I am a Gandhi Fellow of Piramal Foundation. And as a part of my fellowship, I do travel to the tribal belt of Chhattisgarh and studying the health condition, health infrastructure. So I have visited some of the village, like hard to reach village in Chhattisgarh, and see how they are living, and to work upon the health and not hospital and sub health center can't reach them, but internet can reach them, and to improve their health and other aspect of their life. I think internet will help internet will go the long way. So as a part of it, I have contacted Osman to help me with all the things and how I can navigate this together. So that's it. And along with that, I do help a non-profit to maximize their reach through the grant program of Google and Microsoft and Canva and all the things as a separate project. So that's it. Thank you, Osman, for having me.
Thank you, Anshu. Just to also briefly qualify what Anshu said, Anshu is a part of a Gandhi Fellowship. Gandhi Fellowship is a part of study and on-ground work together. It's a 2-year program where they are posted in a remote area. So Anshu got in touch from that indigenous community area in Chhattisgarh, one of the provinces in India. 80-90% people are tribals there. And he said that can we connect them because they are not connected, and they are absolutely not connected by road, not connected by internet, not connected by for their daily needs and so on and so forth. So we asked Anshu, can you do an entire recce? And he did the entire recce on video by talking to each one of them. So today, one of the 3 cases that we are going to see is that 2, of course, the one which has been done, but one which is aspiring to be done. So how do they look like? A typical remote, unconnected area without connectivity. What are they talking? What are they discussing and things like that? So that also we will see today, and that's the reason we invited Anshu. So we have done this good amount of introduction. Thank you very much for sparing time. Way forward in the next 1.5 hour or 1 hour 15 minutes, we are going to watch 3 videos or 3 real-time case study recorded in the past 1.5 week or 2 weeks, and that has been edited for its being precise and time. But it is as good as live. It is not edited for not being live, but it is edited for time. So the first case study, we will go to Pakistan, and where you will meet Amir Hayat in person here and also in video there. So there will be 2 Amir Hayats we are going to meet in the next 10 minutes. And after watching that video, then we will come back and we'll have 10-15 minutes discussion among ourselves, and where each one of us will ask questions and inquire and go detail so that the rest of the audience get benefited of what is things happening. And the same thing we will repeat 2 more times in the next 45 minutes or so. So thank you very much. And Jenny, can we go to the first case study immediately, or case video immediately?
Yes.
Welcome all. We are in another session of CNX, Community Network Exchange 2022. And in this session, we are going directly to Pakistan, and we will ask Amir Hayat where he is located. But this particular CNX is going to show you the ground realities of agricultural field and how the farmers are connected through community networks, and in the area where no other network works. So welcome Amir Hayat Bhandara, as you call yourself in full name, who is the co-founder of Agriculture Republic, which is basically initiated derived called DERA. So welcome Amir bhai, and first thing first, क्या है ये डेरा विलेज?
उसामा भाई, बेसिकली डेरा जो है वो इसका कॉन्सेप्ट ये होता है कि जिस तरह हमारे साउथ एशिया में पर्टिकुलरली ये कॉन्सेप्ट है कि जो देहातों के अंदर, विलेजेस के अंदर, रूरल एरियाज के अंदर फार्मर्स और रूरल पॉपुलेशन जो है वो मिलके बैठती है किसी सेंट्रल प्लेस के ऊपर। जिस तरह पंचायत का कॉन्सेप्ट आपके अगर हम देखें हिंदुस्तान में, ये हमारे पूरे साउथ एशिया में एक ही सारा कल्चर चल रहा। जो बेसिकली डेरे का जो कॉन्सेप्ट हमने यहाँ पे जो पाकिस्तान में हम या पंजाब में पर्टिकुलरली इसको डेरा कहा जाता है, सिंध में औतार या चौपाल की तरफ चले जाते हैं, तो उसमें ये था कि हम जो एग्रीकल्चर के जो मसाइल हैं उनको हम किस तरह से सॉल्व करें थ्रू डिजिटल मीन्स। तो इसके लिए हमने ये जो डेरा था इसको हमने, हमारी जो फैमिली है इसको डेजिग्नेट किया और हमने इसको डिजिटाइज करने की कोशिश की। आपने बड़ा दुरुस्त फरमाया अपने इंट्रो के अंदर कि ये वो जगह है जो जहाँ पे हम जो 2G नेटवर्क है, टेलीफोन कॉल्स जो है वो भी प्रॉपर हम जो है वो नहीं ले सकते और उनसे बात नहीं हो सकती। लेकिन अब ये टेक्नोलॉजी और ये डिजिटाइजेशन ही है कि आप इतने हाई स्पीड इंटरनेट अवेलेबल है कि आप मुझे और मेरे जो फेलो फार्मर्स हैं उनको यहाँ पे बैठे हुए देख सकते हैं, हम आपकी बात सुन सकते हैं, आप हमें देख भी रहे हैं और कम्युनिकेट कर सकते हैं।
आपका जो ये डेरा है, इस डेरे का ओरिजिनल नाम क्या है, कहाँ पे, किस प्रोविंस में लोकेटेड है, किस सिटी के पास लोकेटेड है?
ये पाकपतन जिला है, ये पंजाब के तकरीबन दरमियान में आता है, साउथ पंजाब और सेंट्रल पंजाब के बॉर्डर पे ये जगह है। और ये मैं इसको पाकिस्तान का, या शायद अगर मैं ये कहूँ कि ये एशिया का एग्रीकल्चर हार्ट है, तो शायद ये दो राय नहीं होगी, क्योंकि ये वो एरिया है जो सबसे फर्टाइल है। एंड आई थिंक वन ऑफ दोज फ्यू एरियाज इन द वर्ल्ड जहाँ पे हम एक साल के अंदर 3 मेजर क्रॉप्स ले रहे हैं। जो बॉर्डर है मशरकी तरफ हिंदुस्तान के साथ, ये बहावलनगर एक जिला है, उसके और साहिवाल जिला के दरमियान में ये लोकेटेड है।
आप अपने रूम को भी जरा दिखाएं कि ये डेरा को आपने डिजिटाइज जो किया है वो किस तरह से किया है, यहाँ क्या क्या सहूलियात आपने फराहम की हैं जिससे लगे कि ये डिजिटल है और लोग डिजिटल का फायदा उठा रहे हैं।
ये हमारे कंप्यूटर्स पड़े हुए हैं जी, एक कंप्यूटर से अभी मैंने आपको कनेक्ट किया हुआ है।
अच्छा जी,
ठीक है जी। ये एक सर्वर पड़ा हुआ है जो ऊपर है हमारे डेटा के लिए और फार्मर्स की सपोर्ट के लिए, ताकि उनको जो मवाद है एग्रीकल्चर के रिलेटेड इंफॉर्मेशन वो प्रोवाइड की जा सके। और ये मजे की बात है क्योंकि ये बड़ा हॉट एरिया है, तो इसलिए इट इज ऑल एयर कंडीशनड एंड सोलर पावर। ठीक है, क्योंकि यहाँ पे बिजली के बहुत से मसाइल हैं कंपैरेटिवली। और हमने इफ यू कुड सी प्रोजेक्टर है ताकि फार्मर्स की जो ट्रेनिंग है वो करवाई जा सके। दिस इज द एरिया जी। तो ये अगर आप देखें तो जो फार्मर्स हैं दे आर यूजिंग टैबलेट्स, और ये टैबलेट्स के ऊपर वीडियोस एग्रीकल्चर की और जो रेलेवेंट है वो देख रहे हैं। दे आर सिटिंग आउटसाइड। तो ये जो एरिया है इसको हम ये कर्टन्स नीचे गिरा के तो ट्रेनिंग एरिया में क्लासरूम बना देते हैं, और इस साइड पे जो है वो हम लगा देते हैं स्क्रीन। तो इस तरह से दिस इज equally working as a classroom as well as a training center and a service center.
तो इनमें से किसी से आप एक सवाल ये पूछें कि डिजिटल डेरा को यहाँ पर लगे हुए शायद साल भर 2 साल भी नहीं हुए हैं, और इससे पहले के क्या हालात थे और उन हालात में क्या खास तब्दीली आई है, और इनकी अपनी जिंदगी में एज ए किसान क्या तब्दीली आई है इस डेरे की वजह से, डिजिटल डेरे की वजह से?
ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮੌਸਮ ਦਾ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ ਖਾਦਾਂ ਖੁਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਮੌਸਮ ਦੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਕ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਸਪਰੇ ਮੌਸਮ ਦੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਡਿਜੀਟਲ ਡੇਰੇ ਤਰਫੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮੌਸਮ ਦਾ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ, ਹੋਰ ਤਰੀਕੇਕਾਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਹੂਲਤ। ਸਾਡਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੂੰਜੀ ਦੀ ਫਸਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛੀ ਖੜੀ, ਬੜੀ ਪਿਆਰੀ। ਪਹਿਲੇ ਮੱਕੀ ਦੀ ਫਸਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਇਹ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਗਾਈਡੈਂਸ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਇਸ ਡੇਰੇ 'ਚ, ਤੇ ਅੱਲਾ ਕਰੇਗਾ ਇਨਸ਼ਾਅੱਲਾ ਸਿਲਸਿਲਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਠੀਕ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਪਿਆ ਜੀ। ਮੂੰਜੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛੀ ਖੜੀ ਹੈ ਜੀ। ਫਿਰ ਟਿਊਬਵੈੱਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੰਦ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ, ਮੌਸਮ ਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ, ਹਾਲਾਤ ਦਾ ਪਤਾ ਚੱਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਹਾਲਤ। ਉਸੇ बड़ा सिलसिला ठीक है जी।
एक चीज तो बड़ी वाज़ेह है कि पूरी दुनिया के अंदर, आई डोंट नो अबाउट इंडिया, बट पाकिस्तान में इंटरनेट जो है वो एक महंगी प्रोडक्ट, और जो एक छोटा किसान है खासतौर पर, पहले तो उसके प्रॉब्लम ये है कि उसके पास स्मार्टफोन अवेलेबल नहीं है। अब देखें यहाँ पे 10th जनरेशन कंप्यूटर्स पड़े हुए हैं, लेटेस्ट सैमसंग के टैबलेट्स पड़े हुए हैं, तो दे कैन यूज इट। अगर वो खुद नहीं इस्तेमाल कर सकते तो हमारा लोकल चैंपियन जो है वो उनको बता देता है कि यार मौसम की ये सूरत हाल है या सिचुएशन ये है। तो अगर वो खुद अपनी अगर पॉकेट पे देखें तो उनके लिए बड़ा एक्सपेंसिव है। एक तो फोन लेना एक्सपेंसिव है, फिर उसके बाद जो है उसमें रिचार्ज करना और फिर इंटरनेट इस्तेमाल करना वो बड़ा एक्सपेंसिव है। एक बात आपको ये मैं बताता चलूं कि डेरे में सिर्फ किसान नहीं, जो ज़रूरी मजदूर है वो भी आते हैं। इसी तरह खवातीन जो हैं वो भी यहाँ पे आती हैं, क्योंकि हमारी जो पाकिस्तान की और हिंदुस्तान का भी ऑलमोस्ट यही सिचुएशन है कि जो 80 से 90% आपकी मैनुअल एग्रीकल्चर प्रैक्टिसेस हैं, वो विदाउट विमेन जो है वो हमारे फार्म ऑपरेशंस पॉसिबल ही नहीं।
तो यहाँ पर जो लोग आते हैं वो किस किस तरह के कंटेंट देखते हैं, किस किस तरह की इंफॉर्मेशन देखते हैं? ये
बड़ा आपका अच्छा सवाल है। अब देखें, जिस तरह ये नासिर साहब आए बैठे हैं, इनका कंसर्न ये है कि मैंने अपनी जो राइस की हार्वेस्टिंग है वो करवानी है, क्योंकि राइस की जो एक किस्म है वो तैयार हो गई। तो ही इज कंसर्न्ड अबाउट 2 थिंग्स। नंबर 1 कि मैंने हार्वेस्टिंग इसकी कब करानी है, मौसम खराब कब है। नंबर 2 के प्राइस क्या चल रही है मार्केट के अंदर, कि मैं कौन सी मार्केट में इसको भेजूं जिससे ज्यादा प्रॉफिट हो सके। इसी तरह अगर कोई ज़रूरी मजदूर आता है तो उसकी सिचुएशन ये होगी कि जी फसल जो, क्योंकि थोड़े थोड़े पैसे बचाकर वो अपनी फसल थोड़ी स्टोर भी करते हैं ताकि ज्यादा मुनाफा कमाया जा सके, तो दे आर कंसर्न विद जी कि कौन सी फसल का प्राइस जो है वो आगे बढ़ने जा रहा है या किस तरह से आगे बढ़े। जो स्टूडेंट आएगा, स्टूडेंट का ये कंसर्न होगा कि हमें जो एग्रीकल्चर की एजुकेशन है उसमें आगे किसमें मेजर करना चाहिए, क्या हम क्या आगे कर सकते हैं। तो वो जो टावर है वो राइट इन द मिडल ऑफ 5 विलेजेस है। तो अगर हम उसको वो एक्सपेंशन में जा सकते हैं कि हमने जिस तरह एक डेरा एक विलेज के अंदर बनाया है, उसी रेडियस के ऊपर हम जो अगर 5 मजीद गांव को कनेक्ट करें तो बहुत सी पॉपुलेशन जो है वो आगे जो है उसको उस रेडियस के बाद भी कवर की जा सकती है।
तो आपने बैकहॉल किससे ले रखा है, इंटरनेट पीछे से किसका ले रखा है, कौन से सर्विस प्रोवाइडर का?
जो हमारी पीटीसीएल पाकिस्तान टेलीकम्युनिकेशन जो स्टेट की कंपनी है, जो वहां से हम उसे।
तो ये जो इंटरनेट का जो कॉस्ट आता होगा, जो मंथली कॉस्ट आता होगा, वो कौन देता है?
आईसॉक उसमें प्रोवाइड कर रहा है।
तो हयात फार्म्स जो है वो आपके फार्म से जो आप एक कंपनी की तरह भी रन करते हैं एज ए फार्मिंग कंपनी और एज ए फार्मर्स कंपनी, और आपने आईसॉक के साथ कंट्रीब्यूशन उनका लिया और आपने खुद अपना भी कुछ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चरल कंट्रीब्यूशन दिया, और जो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक और गैजेट्स और इस तरह की चीजें आपने उनके कंट्रीब्यूशन से खरीदी, लेकिन रियल एस्टेट कंट्रीब्यूशन आपका है। और इसको चलाने में भी आपका कंट्रीब्यूशन होगा, क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली वो सारे खर्चे तो नहीं दे पाए।
नहीं, इसमें जो बाकी की जो अदर देन दोज हैं, दिन में चूंकि सोलर है, रात को लेकिन आपदा हमें कंज्यूम करनी पड़ती है थोड़ी बहुत, तो दैट इज बोर्न बाय हयात फार्म्स। ये टॉवर है
बिल्कुल,
और इसके ऊपर 2 बीम्स लगी हुई हैं, एक पावर बीम है, एक लाइट बीम। जो पावर बीम है वो कनेक्ट कर रही है हमारी जो पीटीसीएल की जो एक्सचेंज है उसको।
अच्छा।
जो बड़े वाली, जो लाइट बीम है वो कनेक्ट कर रही है हमें यहाँ पे जहाँ पे मैं बैठा हूँ, डिजिटल डेटा।
अच्छा
तो ये दिस इज अ वायरलेस नेटवर्क, इसमें हमने तार नहीं बिछाई है, एंड वहां से इंटरनेट थ्रो होता है थ्रू पावर बीम टू दिस टावर, और इस टावर के जरिए आगे फिर जहाँ पे मैं बैठा हूँ यहाँ पे जो इंटरनेट है वो पहुंच के तो इस काबिल होते हैं हम कि हम आपसे बात कर लें।
ओ, तो इसका मतलब ये है कि जो सोर्स है इंटरनेट का वो पहले आपके इस टावर पे जा रहा है और आपके पास बाद में आ रहा है।
बाद में आ रहे हैं, बिल्कुल। और इसी टावर के रेडियस के अंदर 5 मजीद गांव हैं, जिस तरह आपने कहा कि उससे फिर आगे मैश नेटवर्क और डेवलप हो सकता है इसी तरह वायरलेस नेटवर्किंग के जरिए।
तो बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, इंशाल्लाह फिर मुलाकात होगी। ठीक है, खुदा हाफिज, अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
Wonderful. It seemed like, Amir Bhai, you are here, and therefore, the last one which you wanted to complete, and the video got wanted to be very careful about time. So I would invite Mike to start first as your first reaction and any question that you have, and then Imani, and then Gary and Adrian.
Well, thanks. That was really an inspiring interview, and great to actually see the details of the setup there in Pakistan that I'd heard about but never seen before. So really getting to understand a better idea of how your network works there. And yes, in LockNet, we find that there's a lot of interest from rural farming communities in this type of connectivity. I mean, not only for gaining access to information and to being able to promote the products online, but we're also finding a lot of interest in recording traditional agricultural techniques and other types of information that might be relevant to farmers, and aside from the more traditional approaches of accessing weather reports and information like that. And then an interesting aspect that seems to be emerging now is how to use various what we call IoT devices on the network to actually really leverage the power of the technology here. So it's not actually just about providing information and communication to the farmers, but actually automating some of those processes. So, for example, we're working on a very low-cost solar-powered charger that can also do soil moisture measurements and control a water pump, so that farmers can automatically irrigate their fields, for example. Another example is in using air quality sensors and water quality sensors to measure the status of the air and the water quality. For example, in one of our partner networks in Thailand, they suffer a lot from the smoke produced by the burning paddy fields. And so they try to identify the sources of those pollutants and then educate the farmers about the process of burning the rice fields. So I think that there's a lot of extra value that can have from the connectivity once it's in place that goes even beyond the provision of information to farmers and them being able to use the network to broadcast the information that they generate. Thank you. Osama, you're on mute.
Are you on mute?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Muting, unmuting is a good thing. You might be saying something, and then when you say that you were muted, then you figure out that, okay, I might as well not ask the same question. There is another question that I may ask. Amir Bhai, you need to tell us one thing, because there are not many community networks are focusing or have focused as an experience of agricultural focus. And that is, for example, India and the entire South Asian countries, or for that matter, many countries. More than 50% or 40% of their economy comes from agriculture, and that is the area that is also field oriented. That is also the area that is maximum labor oriented. That is also the area that is the maximum supply oriented. And yet the usage of community network, or for that matter, internet in general, is not something that we hear about. And considering that in a developing countries and South countries, farming is a great area of dependency for economy, it's also now becoming dependency on network and internet. How do you really propose that this can be replicated, considering that you still have ISOC who pays for your, back-end bill or something like that? And since you are a farmer and you have a company of farmers, you are supporting huge amount of resources here to support the other marginalized farmers. But going forward, if you have to open 100 more centers like this, 200 more centers like this with connectivity, how would you propose that it can happen?
Thank you very much, Osama. That's really a wonderful question and very important as well. Before answering your question, I would like to thank Mike for his very encouraging comments. And the thing he was discussing about adding value through IoTs, we are working on few things, like you mentioned about the automated irrigation system. The tower where the tower is located on a farm actually, and that's the property of Hayat Farms. The tube well, the electricity water pump there is automated now. We are for the trial basis, we are operating through mobile phones. And yes, that's a great service if we expand to other farmers as well. But yes, the other gadgets you were discussing about the soil moisture monitor and air quality monitor or some sort of these sensors, those are the need of hour now. And through these digital data, we can expand to each and every acre. Osama bhai, let me come to your point that agriculture is not just economy now. We have recently coming out of a very large scale pandemic, the COVID-19. In the recent years, world has experienced that we can live without new clothes, we can live without air travel, we can live without anything, but we can't live without food. And food is coming from the agriculture sector. So how digital data can help, or how I can propose digital data for other places, well, it's not only in Pakistan, but around the world, that if you increase just the productivity of 1 acre with 10%, through right technology, right information, and accurate decision power to the farmers, and just impact the productivity to the livestock and minimize the cost of production on those crops or livestock or animals, I think that can do wonder for the world. And here, ISOC, and I'm forgetting one thing, that a huge thanks for not only from my side, but my whole farming community for helping us to set up this marvelous thing and a center and a place to help and serve farming community of a remote district in Pakpatan in Punjab and Pakistan. Thank you, ISOC, for providing all the opportunities. Well, what I always say is that digital data can minimize the cost of productions and impact the natural resources so sustainably. But ISOC had a case study on digital data that through proper information and right technology and accurate information at the right times, you can save a lot of water. And that is not the only one water saving, that is impacting the productivity as well. If you're providing the right amount of fertilizer and right amount of water to the crop, that can increase the productivity, and that will ultimately impacting the lives of the farmers in the rural communities. Like we are actually working on the people who are sitting in the urban centers. In the developing countries, in the south countries, like in Pakistan and India, people are focusing on cities and the metropolitans and the big cities. We are not focusing the rural lives. Rural people and villages are the real growth engine now. through villages and agriculture sector and the rural investment in the rural areas, particularly connecting them to the world, can help you to not only achieve the productivity of the agriculture sector, the farming sector, but the human productivity as well. Like the major challenge now the world is facing, the urban migration. People are leaving the villages and coming into the cities just because of these a very small and very inexpensive technologies for the organizations. Internet is expensive for me, internet is expensive for the local village guy, but it is not really expensive for the organization. It is not really expensive for the ISOC. Well, there are a few $100,000 we can set up a digital data everywhere in this world, but just look at the amount we can save on saving the natural resources and impacting the lives of the people, and increase the productivity and lowering and decreasing the cost of production, not only of the agriculture sector but all the facilities available. So I think I'm proposing this, that it should be replicated everywhere to increase the productivity not only of the crops, of the livestock, but the human productivity as well, and lower and decrease the pressure of your urbanization and the resources and the natural resources. We are facing a huge problem of the impacts of climate change now. And through these digital means, through these connectivity measures, through right information, accurate technologies, and the most important thing is providing power to decide rightly, can help everyone to be safer. And I always say that we need to work on the safer world. We need to work on the productive world. We need to work on the food secure world instead of the food secure and safer countries or cities or the regions. Thank you.
Amir, thank you very much. I think the three highlights that you said is that what I see is that the last mile connectivity as a base, but then how we can also pick contextualization of climate change, agriculture, and food security. These are the three things I think that you are highlighting, and we will note down and we will work on that one. Imani, do you have a feedback and a question for Amir?
Hey, thank you very much for that amazing presentation. It's really good to see what is, being used in other areas for connectivity. Totally understand the no connections in isolated areas. So really good to see that. I think some of my questions would be around what speeds are you getting from your ISP, the government-owned company? How much does that cost in terms of providing that per month? And possibly the second part will be just a comment on having a sustainability model, possibly providing other services charged if possible, if that can be brought about to assist with helping to sustain it after the funding model is done, possibly printing, taking photos, anything that can be used, charging for time, like an internet cafe, hiring of tablets to be used on site, not to be taken away. Just some notes that I'm thinking of. That's about it for me. Thank you.
So Amir, I think we all want to know how much bandwidth do you get through your backhaul, and how much bandwidth are you in a position to further broadcast, and also in terms of sustainability, how much in dollars or whatever local currency do you pay?
Well, currently we are using 7 Mbps bandwidth, and if we add some 3 Mbps or 4 Mbps, we can start some other points around us. We cannot directly broadcast like the Wi-Fi connection, because that's not protected by the law. According to law, we cannot broadcast, but we can start point-to-point connectivity like we did here in this digital era. So we can connect the main tower, you have already shown in the video. So that can, so similar points can be started and established in the surrounding villages. Like we are working on the 5, we have 5 villages under the radar of this one tower. The question Imani asked about the sustainability, we are working on few models that what kind of and what type of services we can provide to our farmers that should be cost with minimum expense. Like if we have a printer available here, if we are going to help any farmer or anyone in the villages that if he or she need a print, how what cost we can charge him or her on the subsidized prices. Similarly, we can expand our services like the IoT, like earlier Mike was discussing, that how we can introduce those services and technologies that can contribute to the sustainable running of this digital data model. And there are few other options we are working on, and those are, in fact, if we are successful in helping farmers to reduce their cost of production and increase and enhance their productivity, that is actually impacting their profits, profits on the return or the return of investment. They will be happy to contribute to make this model sustainable. And the beauty of rural lives and villages are that everyone owned their asset. Normally, we do not see in the urban station or the cities that people do not own the facilities they are being provided. So this is the first of its kind happened in, I think, Pakistan, that a farmer and the farming organization collaborated with ISOC and through Agriculture Republic. People actually owned it and they enjoy it while sitting here. So I think we will be in a very good position very soon to share with you that how we are going to make it sustainable model.
We would actually like to work with you to do that. And in terms of also, there is always a via media to overcome regulation without violating it. For example, if you are saying that your broadcasting is not allowed by you can always have point to point, but your point can have a Wi-Fi hotspot stations around the place, which can become a public access point, which you have already, where hundreds of people can walk in, because that will also give a very strong focus on community participation, like Chaupa, like Dera, where people come. And because in any case, one of the things that I think connectivity and mobility and mobile breaks is community, by being individualizing. And in the community, when we work together, access together, learn together, knowledge together, then these community access points can be very, very interesting. But we will work on this together, and we will create, because we all have the similar situation, and we also have the population, which is the highest in the world, which is unconnected. So Adrian, do you have a quick question and observation?
If there is time. Is there time for that, Osama?
Yes, you can. Very quick comment, and
okay.
I'm going to ask Gary as well, because it's important that we discuss, and we have enough time.
Okay, I'll be quick. So thanks for making that video, and of course, you talked about the case study. Let me put the link to the case study in the chat in a moment. So that anyone who wants to read in detail can find out more about digital data. I just wanted to ask Anna, when we talk about deploying any community network, usually there are 3 big things that we must tackle. There is 1, an active community involvement. 2, is a regulatory clearance. 3 is sustainability. We have talked a lot about sustainability now and how we got around the regulatory barrier just now. But what about community involvement? How did you identify like community champions from the beginning? I understand there are excellent champions in the DERA. So can you tell us how you tackle that?
Well, very important question. Thank you for asking this. Well, like I earlier told you that people are leaving, educated youngsters are leaving their villages because they are not having all kind of opportunities what a city guy is enjoying. So this was the thing that actually everyone was looking for. One of our champion who once told me that I used to travel around 20 kilometers to apply for any admission to college or the university, or to get even a print. But now I have an opportunity and I have an option to just get up early in the morning from my home, or like in the midnight, I can just come here and do everything what I want on the internet or a printer. Similarly, everyone in the village or the community, I already told you that in rural life in villages, everyone owned it and they are really interested in it. Well, like the users of mobile phones, our youth is really very interested in it, but they do not have the right connection and the good connection. They can't even use the 2G. So the youth in our areas are really interested to join in their work as an agriculturist as well. Well, we were facing a few months back that no one from our younger people was interested to join the agriculture sector. But now they're looking to the videos from USA, from Europe, that there are automated driverless tractors, there are drones, there are the automated irrigation systems, like they are experiencing it themselves in our villages. So they are feeling and they are getting the hope that yes, now we can do everything here in our area because we have internet, we have the connectivity. So this is the thing that is helping the community and the local champions to come. And there are many other champions being trained here. They want to come, they want to join the setup, and they want to enjoy the first-hand experience of the technology available in our area, in the rural life, which is like a dream before just a year ago. Our DERA is turning 1 year on 2nd of October. So we are going to soon celebrate its first year. So this is what is helping them to understand and own this facility, that this is of themselves and they have to contribute into it for its success in the further coming days.
So Amir Bhai, I think you have a lot of onus to keep on influencing and exciting people. And Gary, it seems that we will come back to you after seeing your case, so that you can also be in a position of comparison and also learning, and you can make both the comments together about your own as well as to DERA village. Jenny, can we go to the second case study, to the Longhouse of Malaysia? That is going to be fascinating.
We thought that would be okay. We did not want to trouble you. Stuff like that. Renita?
Yeah, sorry, my internet connection is.
Do you want us to play?
Sir, I'm trying. Just give me 1 minute. I'm connecting through my mobile phone.
Okay, wonderful. So that's a good sign, actually, that telco's network is not working properly.
And revise those 2 chapters. Go through the whole chapter. See the new words.
I can't hear the the voice,
See all the new words.
the sound.
See the question answers.
Going to talk about how community networks has taken place here, where apparently. Hi, good morning. This is, I'm taking all of you to Malaysia in a small little village where there is something called Longhouse, and we are going to talk about how community networks has taken place here, where apparently the network is built upon the electricity line, right? And that is how that the network has been brought to this Longhouse. And we are going to talk about community networks here. So thank you very much, Gary. Can we start with your introduction?
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. Yeah, so this is Meg sitting beside me as well. Yeah, we work together since 2014. So what we're thinking like the time is like, why not we think something, you know, to promote the Longhouse as a tourism place in 2014. So that is where the idea of like bringing internet into the Longhouse came. We got the idea from APC, you know, from APC that, oh, there is something called community networks. Why not we start something like that? So I talked to Meg, I talked with the community. We built our own Wi-Fi. We use the backhaul, we built our own Wi-Fi. So what we do, we modified the backhaul from the outside there. Later maybe I can walk around, show you where is the line we're pulling in. And we separated the Wi-Fi access point into the whole Longhouse so that everyone can have access.
Can you explain the name of the village? Where is it exactly located? And then explain also from geographic perspective how difficult it was to bring connectivity here.
We are in the Borneo Island, Sarawak.
Oh, Sarawak is the island, right?
Yes,
okay.
Sarawak, yeah. This is the Borneo Island, the whole Borneo Island, Malaysia. So coming down to Cebu. So Cebu is the nearest town. So our Longhouse now is nearby here. Here on this side, this is the town, and we are here. We are here at this point here.
Oh wow!
We are here now. Yes, we are here in this Longhouse now. Every Longhouse will have one headman. So the headman is named Jimbun. So this one is called Rumah Jimbun. So this is the Longhouse. Okay, so there's another Longhouse on this side, Rumah Dennis. So in this Bawang Asad area, we have 9 Longhouses. So I just asked Mac to reconfirm this now. Is it the tradition way that you're staying together in one Longhouse? He said, yeah. From long time ago, we do that. We stay together, you know, in a one big Longhouse. Whole family, means few families staying together. Yeah.
So how many people live in this Longhouse?
Berapa orang tinggal dekat rumah panjang ini?
Rumah Jimbun 100 lebih, 150 lebih.
Only in this Longhouse, Rumah Jimbun, 150 plus people staying here.
Wow. So what is the profession or a daily work, or how do they earn, these people, 150 people? What is their source of income?
Many of them, they work as some government servants. Then some of them, they work as the private company, those the timber company. And another one will be this agriculture. Those are the farmers.
So in this Longhouse, there is an internet, but how far is the next Longhouse from here?
Here we have about 300 meter. 300 meter. This Longhouse is estimation is about 300 meter. Then the Wi-Fi is around here. Then the next Longhouse, the nearest to us, is just about 600 to 700 meter, just next to us. Yeah, from here we can look at it. Yeah. So then the other one.
But you don't have Wi-Fi there?
No, we can't do that, because if we do that, we violated the license issue. You need to be regulated. So this regulated comes with a fee, a license fee. So this license fee costs us 7,500 ringgit Malaysia. So if you convert it, it's almost $2,000 per year. So this is what Mac have been asking, because he want to connect other longhouses as well, because the backhaul is here. But the problem is that the licensing coming in, if you violate it, they will come and dismantle all your equipment and you no longer have a Wi-Fi.
And what is the bandwidth of your backhaul?
My bandwidth of my backhaul is about 70 Mbps download, 20 Mbps upload.
And that is good enough for all the 130 people?
In this community network, it's sustained and everyone is happy with it. No complaint, so everyone is using it. So from that assumption, is enough. So this is inside the longhouse now. This is actually his house. So in the longhouse, this is how it look like. Also very long going behind. Also very long coming in front. Yeah. Every longhouse, you have their own family with their own some sort of like setting. They call it pintu room. Means that in the longhouse, you have 15 rooms. 15 room means 15 family. There's another small room up there. Yeah. And this is basically the living room. Yeah, Dr. Tariq is here talking with someone. Then
yes.
Back. So yeah, this is how it look like. And I just go in front as well. Let you see how it look like. Here is basically like we said, the public place. You know, this is the public place where all the 15 families, you know, we can share this place. And coming out here, you look at it.
This long houses are made by the government or people make it themselves?
People make it themselves.
Oh, okay.
Wow. This is how it look like, you know, outside. It's a big veranda. Now, this is the next long house. This is the next long house.
Oh.
Yeah, but we cannot connect the Wi-Fi over that side without paying the license. Yeah.
What are the major reasons of the internet usage here?
He told me the 5 things. First will be promotion for tourism, because they will be the income generation for him. The promotion for tourism, use it. Second is school. He mentioned, he used the word school. School means that those kids are using it for learning. Then he said that the third one is that for those people who communicate, means that the community here using it for communication. And number 4 is basically like, you know, to promote the places here, to promote Bawang Asan. Let people know Bawang Asan. This is, you know, the community staying here. And the last one he just mentioned that also is open for public. The internet is open for public. Anyone want to use it, you know, you can just come and use it, you know, to for your own. Yeah.
So the backhaul that is available for you and free of cost is provided by the government telco or some private telco?
It's a private telco. It's a private ISP company. Yeah, it's a.
What is the name of that company?
The company is Sakofa.
And the backhaul is in Cebu, right?
The backhaul is all the way from Kuching until reaching to the point here and coming in. It's using a fiber line from Kuching carrying over here. Kuching is 300 over kilometer away from here, all the way coming down to this side. Then from the end point, we modified the backhaul and put it in here. Yeah.
So it is the telco that is using the electricity line to bring the internet to the nearest place.
Actually, he's using a fiber line from Kuching all the way coming up to Cebu here, Bawang Asan here. It's just like the back, we call it the last mile. The last mile solution, they use the propane oil power line. But now it's, it's down. Basically, that thing is down. I show you the machine they put here. I show you the machine, what they do, what they put in here. So these are the machine of the propane oil power line. It's a modem. So they come up from this power line, this power source. Because the internet is coming in from this power source and go into this modem and Wi-Fi out. Yeah. But the problem now is that this thing is not working anymore. So, but the backhaul still hanging outside there. So this is where I modified the backhaul, pull the cable in from this side. You can see some of the RJ45 cable. You see the black line, the black cable. This is black. This is actually the backhaul RJ45 cable. This is what we modified. Yeah, we modified it and put all the way in and go into my switch inside and we put it into a router Wi-Fi for the long house.
Why this case was important?
it was our safest case for community network. I will accept it because the license issue in Malaysia is very unclear. Government even don't understand what community network is. What we wanted to do, that this Langhouse is already in the sharing system. They are sharing their physical space, actually. They are sharing their resources. So we were thinking that can we actually take that value of sharing to a community network? So we can show the government, that community network can be a sharing model instead of this individual technological models. So that is the part to have it here at the Longhouse, and then can see if the people in the Longhouse can demonstrate that we are sharing the resource, but we are also taking the responsibility of taking care of the resource.
Oh, wonderful. Great. Thank you very much. I think it has been a great learning. We are not going to end here. We are going to come again. And like you said, we need to collaborate and, we need to learn from each other.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Wow. I mean, so many times I have looked at it while editing, and it's fascinating. It's amazingly fascinating. Imani, do you want to start with your, reaction, feedback, question?
Yeah, that was, I'd have to say that's a both interesting, cultural aspect of living in a longhouse. That's really interesting for me. And to be able to provide, connectivity for 150 people with that amount of bandwidth, that's pretty impressive. So yeah, and just to be able to maintain it. I think the only not really a question as such, but sort of like asking in my own head, is the network distributed over the longhouse, or is it like a central place that everyone would have to congregate to be able to use or utilize the actual Wi-Fi itself? But I'm really impressed with that one. That's pretty cool.
Gary, you want to reply whether you have to come to a one location within 300 meters, or you can get in each of your compartments?
Yeah, I think they still need to come to the longhouse. They have no choice. Yeah, even the longhouse, I think within 100 meter or 200 meter, you still can get a good Wi-Fi signal. But you are standing outside the longhouse, which is for their culture wise, they don't think it's very welcoming. So normally the public place is like, yeah, we welcome you to come in. So this is the Iban culture. And I think the worst thing is that we cannot connect to the nearest longhouse. It's just nearby. Because of this license issue, they're always coming back to us saying that, oh, if something wrong with the Wi-Fi, who's going to fix it? So they want to regulate it. They want to license it. So this is actually one of the questions I want to ask the DERA as well just now. Do they have this license issue? Yeah. So this is something that we are facing with, but we are still looking forward to really apply the license and see what happens next. Yeah.
Mike.
Very good question, and yes, the one that we come across a lot in many situations. The licensing models are really focused on national service providers, and it's very hard in some circumstances for small operators to get a license, or it's just too expensive, or the burdens of the reporting process that are required in many cases are so high that it's just beyond the means of a community network. Even actually to make the application process to gain funds is difficult. We have a case in Argentina, for example, where the regulators actually made millions of dollars available for community networks to apply. But very few have made applications, A, because they're not aware that it's possible to get funds, but then B, the actual capabilities of those remote rural communities to go through the detailed license application process, which requires submitting a business plan and an engineering diagram, and everything else is just too hard for them. So we really find that we need these what we call a MISO organization, which is some organization in country that is able to help all of these small networks with these regulatory procedures, capacity building, and perhaps also even aggregating the backhaul capacity so they can negotiate good rates from the wholesale providers, or they can divide the bandwidth that often these wholesale providers require minimum purchase of, which is way too much for a small community network. So I really hear you, Gary. There's quite a lot of issues here that you need to, not only you, but we all need to work on sensitizing the national policy makers and regulators that this is a viable opportunity now to really meet the connectivity needs of those people that have been excluded. And it's just so great to see your example in the Longhouse, because I think that's the kind of examples that they need to understand and to really appreciate a concrete example of that will help them make some decisions about how they're going to alter their licensing regimes. Thanks.
Wonderful. Amir, do you what do you see, and is there a learning for you from here? Well, it looks like that he is not on his desk. Adrian.
Right, I'll go. Thanks, Osama. Thank you, Gary. That was wonderfully made. Really interesting. I wanted to ask about sustainability as well. I think this case is quite special in that the backhaul, as you said in the video, is free. I wanted to understand, like, do you see that continuing in the future, and if not, what will happen? Like, how can we ensure sustainability of the network?
Yeah, thank you, Adrian. I think this is a very good question. Yeah, the thing won't be free forever. This for sure. Yeah, even I think when we make the case a little bit open, you know, things happen. The ISP company start calling me. The ISP company start calling me and asking, oh, okay, you didn't raise our network since you're using it for good. Then I start to ask that, you know, some of the things will be like start charging by next year or something like that. So these are the things that I also talking with Mac and the community quite a lot. I said this thing will not be free forever. It's just that now coincidentally, because when it's free now, we don't waste it. We just use it to the max that we can, and we look at what model we can do, you know, to really generate certain income. So this is what the community is looking at. So things are changing. People are looking at promoting tourism, using it, and when tourism start to picking up after this, we call it COVID. They also start selling online as well now. It's amazing they're using WhatsApp to sell among the 9 villages. They have one WhatsApp group with 1,000 over people inside there. They're selling it, you know. I'm selling something and selling something. So those are some models that we can see that the internet is helping them to generate certain income. So now the things that will be like to sitting down with the 9 villages later on to looking at, you know, can there be something that we can put it back as a model to pay back to the internet service provider? Or another choice we are looking at is that from the government side, the state government side, because they're giving this free rural Wi-Fi as well. Why not this has become another option for them? It's just the same model, but I just make it like the last mile owned by the community, not owned by the government. I think the government would be very happy because the last mile now maintained by us, not maintained by them. You just give me the backhaul, just sustain the backhaul for me. I spread it around the village. I think this is a nice model as well. Yeah. So this is something that we're exploring. That's why Dr. Tariq talked to me that we just go ahead and get the license and see what happens next. So I said, okay, yeah, we want to test it. Yeah.
I was thinking that one of the policy pressure could be that you get signature of all the longhouse residents of the other people who are not connected, and put that as a requirement, a need or demand, saying that our neighbor has the connectivity, and we would like to have it for our longhouse as well. If it was this subcontinent, I would have said that. Otherwise, they would have said otherwise disconnect these guys also. But that could be a very
that would be a very good suggestion as well. Yeah.
They're creating public pressure for internet. Usually what happens is that in the era of internet and technology, most of the time it's the advocacy groups and the NGOs and the organizations talk on behalf of the people, but there is no signature campaign. There is no like demonstration, give me internet, like give me food, or give me water, or give me road, or give me, basic necessities. So this could be one of them.
Okay. So we need to demonstrate in a good way, I think. Yeah, this is what I talked to Edwin as well. I don't want to, trigger certain thing and they come and start dismantling my Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you very much. Let's get into the last video, which is not more than 5 minutes, to go to a place called Chhattisgarh in India, which is still not connected.
मैं ग्राम रैनखोल से हूँ। यहाँ पानी, सड़कें और अन्य सुविधाओं का कोई भी लाभ नहीं है। यहाँ ना ही नेटवर्क होता है जिससे हम ऑनलाइन पढ़ाई कर सकते हैं। यहाँ हम लोग को आने जाने में सड़कें के लिए, सभी चीज़ों के लिए परेशानियाँ होती हैं। जब 12वीं में भी ऑनलाइन पढ़ाई हो रहा था तो हम लोग पढ़ नहीं पाए थे, नेटवर्क नहीं था। नेटवर्क की वजह से घर वाले मोबाइल का क्या करेंगे बोलते हैं।
और नेटवर्क नहीं है, उसके कारण से यहाँ कई प्रकार की भी समस्या है, जैसे कि पेंशनधारी मान जो बुढ़िया हो गए वह पैदल जा नहीं सके, और अपन जो भी पेंशन के पैसा है ओला निकाले बा नीचे बरपाली जाते, और कई जमन तो ऐसे ठगा भी जाते हैं जमन के पैसा ला CSO सेंटर वाला मन खा देते हैं, पैसा जमा नहीं हुए। इस प्रकार से वो मन ला दिक्कत होती है। तो गांव में नेटवर्क हो जाए बहुत सारा सुविधा भी होती।
रात में मान लेते हैं कोई बीमार पड़ गया तो उसको फिर कैसे, मतलब आपको बुलाया गया कि कोई बीमार पड़ गया या कोई माँ का डिलीवरी होना है रात में, तो फिर वो कैसे आप हैंडल करते हैं? किसी का
माने वो करल पूरा मोबाइल घुमा के टावर खोदथन तो जे कर पाथे ना करा तो टाइम हो जाते थिया डिलीवरी थिया तो घरे में हो जाते का
टावर का दिक्कत है। कहीं से जल्दी हम कहीं जगह फोन करने नहीं बनता हमको, इधर से टावर का दिक्कत हमको है। कहीं भी इमरजेंसी हम कॉल कर कहीं को गाड़ी को बुलाएंगे 112 को तो जल्दी हमको नहीं मिलता है इमरजेंसी कॉल के लिए। कोई टावर का हमको ज़्यादा दिक्कत है।
यहाँ पे जैसे आप बोले कि आप दूसरे गांव से आते हैं, अगर यहाँ नेटवर्क लग जाएगा तो इससे आपको क्या फ़ायदा होगा, किस तरह फ़ायदा होगा?
हमको बहुत फ़ायदा हुआ। नेटवर्क लग जाएगा तो हमको उधर जाते हैं, नीचे जाएंगे अभी टावर के लिए, हम 112 के लिए फ़ोन करने के लिए इधर से भी लग जाएगा, जल्दी से जल्दी हमारा मरीज चल देगा। कभी भी कुछ भी होता है मरीज इधर से ही जल देगा। हम उधर जाने के लिए हमको दिक्कत लगता है, हम नीचे में जाएंगे तब तो टावर लगेगा, तब तो 112 आएगा इधर।
गांव में और क्या क्या समस्या है आपको, मतलब क्या क्या दिक्कत है गांव में?
सबसे पहले तो नेटवर्क नहीं हो रहा है तो कुछ भी काम नहीं हो रहा है, अब ऑनलाइन द्वारा हो रहा है।
तो अभी कोरोना था तो बच्चे लोग को क्या कर रहे थे पढ़ाने के लिए?
पढ़ाई तो नहीं कर रहे हैं बच्चे लोग, नेटवर्क नहीं है तो मुर्गी खाना ऑनलाइन हो रहा है। यहाँ नेटवर्क कारण बहुत दिक्कत होता है। मैं बाहर में रहता हूँ ना, वहाँ कमाता हूँ वहाँ तो पैसा भेजता हूँ ना ऑनलाइन ना, निकालने के लिए यहाँ दिक्कत होता है। यहाँ 3 किलोमीटर जाना पड़ता है यहाँ से निकालने और पली वहाँ से कोई दिक्कत है निकालने के लिए।
और डेली फोन से बात करते हैं तो हो जाता है क्या?
नहीं होता है बात
तो कैसे अगर
कभी होता है, प्रॉब्लम बहुत आता है, कभी कभी आता है।
आपको लगता है अगर नेटवर्क आ जाएगा तो आपका जो किस तरह से फायदा होगा, मतलब मोबाइल के थ्रू?
सिलाई कढ़ाई में ज्यादा देखती हूँ और जो छोटे पुराने कपड़े रहते हैं उससे क्या क्या बनता है
जी
वो देखती हूँ।
तो आएगा तो इसमें और आप अपना देख के सीख सकते हैं खुद से जी। और आपको अगर कहीं ऑनलाइन काम करना होता है या फॉर्म भरना होता है या फोटो कॉपी कराना होता है या कुछ या आधार अपडेट कराना होता है तो आप कहाँ जाते हैं ये सब काम करने के लिए? फिलहाल
5 किलोमीटर आगे
5 किलोमीटर
सब होता है।
और तो वहाँ कैसे जाते हैं आप?
पैदल या गाड़ी में।
हाँ, और कितना समय लगता है वहाँ?
कम से कम 1-1.5 घंटा।
मेरे को लगता है अगर सॉल्व अगर हो जाए ज़्यादा अच्छा है कि नेटवर्क अभी नेटवर्क में है कि हम लोग को भी दिक्कत होता है कि हम लोग 80 ग्राम फोन में है। अगर हम लोग को बहुत जने फोन करते रहते हैं कि यहाँ वो समस्या है तो कम से कम मेरे से बात होगा उन लोग को तो कई समस्या का हल फोन से हो जाएगा। हम लोग को कई चीज़ अपलोड करना रहता है मोबाइल नेटवर्किंग से। आज अभी तो पूरा ऑनलाइन है सब चीज़, उसको ऑनलाइन करो उसको ऑनलाइन करो तो सब चीज़ है। और मेरे हिसाब से तो लगता है कि नेटवर्क आ जाने पर हमारे यहाँ बहुत जने को जैसे KYC बैंक चलाते हैं उसमें पैसा निकालना रहता है तो गांव के जो अभी बहुत जने को पेंशन जो मिलता है बुजुर्ग लोग को उसको गांव में सुविधा मिल जाएगा कि गांव के कई जने ऐसे हैं कि पढ़े लिखे हैं 12वीं पास है कोई कॉलेज कर रहे हैं उन लोग को गाँव में अगर नेटवर्क रहेगा तो उन लोग KYC चलाएंगे गाँव में और उसको पैसा गाँव से भीतर कर सकते हैं। किस चीज़ में ऑनलाइन फॉर्म डालना है तो वो भी कर सकते हैं। अगर किसी को अगर कुछ चीज़ जानकारी लेना है तो जानकारी भी तुरंत मिलेगा तो गांव को भी डेवलप होगा, यहाँ रोजगार भी बढ़ेगा थोड़ा बहुत। पर्यटन लोग यहाँ आते हैं तो यहाँ नेटवर्क नहीं रहता तो पर्यटन लोग यहाँ बहुत कमाते हैं तो पर्यटन लोग को भी फायदा मिलेगा। हमारे गांव में चारों तरफ जंगल से घेरा हुआ है, गर्मी टाइम में जंगल में आग लगता है तो उसको भी फॉरेस्ट वाले लोग को यहाँ से मोबाइल से सूचना करेंगे, एक फोटो खींच के भेजेंगे कि इस जगह जल रहा है तो आप यहाँ से आओ, उसको लोकेशन बताएंगे। लोकेशन से इसको कि व्हाट्सएप के माध्यम से कि इस जगह है उसको फोटो खींच के भेज सकते हैं व्हाट्सएप में। तो जंगल भी बचे रहेगा तो वातावरण भी अच्छा रहेगा। और जंगल कटाई होता है तो फोन के माध्यम से अगर फोन करके उन लोग को बोलेंगे तो फॉरेस्ट वाले आएंगे तो तुरंत उसका भी करेंगे उन लोग की कार्रवाई करेंगे उसका कि पेड़ कटाई कम करो।
Yeah, so this is very interesting from the perspective that there are 2-3 things. One is that India has more than 5% population coming from indigenous community, which is a huge number. But the area they might be covering as their residence, as their area, is a significant higher number of the total geographical area. Because of being remote and forest and so on and so forth. The third thing is that what is very interesting if we look at this video is that almost all of them don't know how the network would benefit them or how the connectivity or internet would benefit them without having one. They already know, and let me tell you the reason why it is like that is because government has gone ahead and adopted digital policy in such a way that everything basic is now dependent on digital. For example, you can't have ration without biometric authentication of your identity. You can't have withdrawal of your money without having bank account, which is dependent on know your citizen or know your customer KYC, and that you have to do online. And that's the reason why the lady or the person is saying that KYC is one of the highest demand that you have to keep on doing all the time to withdraw money. And for withdrawing money, you have to go to 3 kilometers, which is the nearest place. And then there is this person who is saying that we keep roaming around on the hills, tower to tower, to figure out where we will get the best connectivity to talk to people that they know or they want to be in touch, which is amazing. It's like, the bird is looking for the best nest to, stay on. So very interestingly, and that's the biggest issue, is that Mike would appreciate that how much policies are changed over a period of time and depending on network, but the network policy itself or the internet policy itself hasn't changed to become the household facility, in terms of consumable, in terms of service, in terms of necessity, and so on and so forth. And that's the irony of this place. And Anshu actually captured Travel Around and captured all this, and looks like that the next year we will have this as a case study, from transitioning from not being connected to be connected. And Mike, we are going to come back to you to support us to have this one as converted into connectivity, physical, because we have done all the feasibility to that one. Let's do a last round of some topical discussion in terms of scale and sustainability, because that's the main topic, and that's indirectly most of you also discussed, is that all of them are amazing. There's no doubt about it. They all are individually great, but there are hundreds of more longhouses, and then there are hundreds of forests, and then there are hundreds of more indigenous communities, and then there are hundreds of more farming communities. Even if we want to be isolating our case to just the community that we are serving, that itself is a huge hierarchy of scalability that is an opportunity and a challenge. So from that perspective, I would go to Imani to do a 1-minute comment on, and then gradually to everyone, because also Imani, because you have been a businessman, you have been doing remote connectivity, but you are also making all of them work as a business, as a sustainable business, and that's important thing that maybe you can teach us how do we do, because in the process of being not for profit and social, we usually rely on a lot of heroism, but not on scalability. We may have a great technology, which sounds great in one place, but not a technology that can be replicated, or the methodology, or the system. So I would ask Imani that from these 3 examples, what do you think that kind of sustainability and the adaptability that one should look for if we are looking for scalability?
Oh, thanks, Osama. It's amazing to see this last one, especially to understand that it's not even connected, and the possibilities and benefits coming to, to the people themselves. I think looking and thinking about sustainability and scalable options, and first, taking it from like an ISOC funded project. So now you have to look at what that is, maybe before even starting a feasibility study, to perhaps also collaborate with others around the community and just outside that, as well as other funding organizations, to be able to look at what could come out of after the funding runs out. Could there be an option of, instead of just having the funding cut, or that's it, maybe have some form of moving into a partial part funding, so that as the community does other things, to be able to incorporate a cost factor to be distributed around each one that is using the facility, using the technology, using the Wi-Fi. Not a cost that could make you money, but just to look at what the operations could pay for in terms of power, putting money aside for things that could go wrong, like your equipment has died because of power outages, probably thinking about power that would be so uneven in those places, not putting out proper power would probably kill these types of precious equipment that are, running on very bad power as such. And just looking at other models that comes into it, how could you sustain it after the funding model, partial funding with subsidized versions coming in, and then get to the part where you could operate as a community that is standalone itself, recognizing that each community and each sector and region are totally different from each other. So it's going to be the people themselves that comes up and organizes themselves and saying, okay, how much could we afford? And possibly if it's going to remain a community project, perhaps to look at it in terms of what could we leverage ourselves in terms of fundraising, perhaps per month, just to get organized to pay for the operations itself, to keep the services available to everyone still for free. So it now becomes a community ownership program as compared to perhaps a business opportunity. It might not necessarily have to be a business. It could still be run as a community operation, or part of a farming community, but perhaps look at, okay, we're going to be selling our crops from this month to be able to sustain for the next 6 months of paying for the operation. So there's always opportunities, and I'm always open to offer ways of seeing how it goes through the transition from the funding model into the sustainable model. Scalability, I think that comes down to how the community or how it translates into after. I don't think it would be a good option to look at scaling it when we still don't have an option of growing it first to be able to sustain it. I think once you sustain it, then you can say to the next community next door and say, hey, look at what we've done. This is how you can do it. Just take this, put it over there, and then now you do it. So that's probably it from me.
Wonderful. I have one question with Mike and both Adrian. And in the last few of the series of CNX this year, there was a question coming in terms of sustainable funding availability by impact investors or investors. But there is a huge lack of understanding what is community networks, what is the lingua franca of community networks, because all of them understand ISP language or the telco language, but they don't understand the community network language. And organizations like DEF, ISOC, and APC, who work on the basis of network organization, large scale, replication also, and so is there a way that we need to really figure out that where do we go from here in terms of linking sustainability and funding availability, and therefore what are the building blocks that we need to put in place? Mike first, and then we can go to Adrian.
Well, thanks, Osama. For me, I think if all the policy barriers are out of the way and there's none of this friction that is caused by that, and there is some supportive seed funding that mechanisms are already available for the big telcos to provide access in so-called unprofitable areas through universal service funds. If some of those small amounts of startup funds, such as the model in Argentina, can be provided and the capacity is there, I think these networks can be fully sustainable and self-starting in many cases, because you really don't need a lot of funds to get a network going like this. If there's reasonably close backhaul, or even now with the LEOs, $500 for a satellite dish can get you 200 megabits per second for the cost of like $50 or $60 a month. So there's really no reason in terms of access to the startup funds, and that part of it is really not a problem. It's really the human capacity and the technical regulations. I mean, and this extends to things beyond just a license to provide Wi-Fi access, because, for example, in India, you have to authenticate with a public Wi-Fi hotspot using a mobile phone to receive the authentication code as a text message. Now, this, of course, means that it's pointless trying to establish a Wi-Fi network in an area without mobile coverage, because then people can't authenticate on the Wi-Fi hotspot. So, there's many layers to the regulations that may need to be unpeeled. At the same time, with these low-cost systems in place, they also need to be allowed to use satellite bandwidth, for example. And the licensing regime is again oriented towards national suppliers, whereas these LEOs that are coming out are global operations. So there's no local supplier. You have to order your dish from California or from another country. So it's all external to the country. And if that environment can't be facilitated, then it's going to be harder for these networks to get going. But again, an interesting aspect to the sustainability part of this is twofold. One is we're seeing a lot of community networks in places where there is significant low-cost coverage provided by the national operators. Look at New York City Mesh, for example, or our partner member network in Spain. Guifi-Net has thousands of nodes, most of them in places where there is already the typical kind of national networks that are in place. As an interesting guideline, I was reading about a small commercial ISP that focuses on going into areas where there is no coverage, and they will go into any area with at least 80 inhabitants, and they will put in a satellite dish on a higher cost VSAT geostationary satellite and a Wi-Fi hotspot, and they'll put all of that in and provide service if there's 80 people there and they're not having to compete with a 4G network. So, the level of sustainability now is such that we really should be able to provide connectivity anywhere if the regulations allow it. Thank you.
Wonderful. So I think that's a very good cookbook for how to scale in terms of technological availability, the frugal technology availability, the way around with regulation, and the way around with costings and the modeling and things like that. And that may be itself a good step forward to make it available for the people. For example, in India, there is this PM Vani, which allows people to actually buy and sell internet at any point of time. But the point is that they also rely so much on authentication that itself becomes a barrier. And then there is this a lack of understanding in terms of how the devices, exactly which device is allowed and which device is not allowed, because there is a regulation that only a particular kind of device is allowed. For example, Mike would know Altermundi had a device which actually was nobody was sure that whether it's allowed or not and can be used or not. And then there is a regulating organization technologically which says that what is allowed and what is not allowed, and that's very difficult to procure. DF has been struggling to put together 25 hotspot under PM Vani, and till today, still we have not been able to make anyone live because of struggling with the technical regulation requirement of the device that we want to use and its availability. But that's we can discuss again. Adrian, on similar ground, do you have a point?
Yes, Osama, you made a great point about the fact that you said that the ISP people speak their own language, the telco people speak their own language, and those of us in this community, in the community network space, speak our own language. I think that's true. We're all dealing with connectivity and access, but why is it the case that we seem to be living in different worlds? So what we think as an internet society is that we should learn to speak their languages too. And that means running a community network, like running a business, more like that. That means we should have, like you said, financial models in running networks if we want to have a higher chance of sustainability. If that means we'll also have to run, business projections, considering your income and your expenditure. We have to understand terms like EBITDA, telco terms or ISP terms, but widely applicable to community networks as well if run well. And that also means we'll have to understand how different financing mechanisms can improve the chances of community networks staying alive and being sustainable. Like in many cases that they rely heavily on grants from us, for instance, from other organizations like APC, for instance. But there are other ways as well, like would having some sort of equity, for instance, in the ownership from the beginning help certain community networks survives in the longer term. There is no one size fits all answer for in this case, but we're constantly thinking about these issues. And yeah, you're 100% right. We should learn to speak their language in order to, I feel, get more people aware about what we're dealing with.
Wonderful. Gary, one last quick question to you. What would you need to make 150 more Longhouse connected?
I think a bigger bandwidth. I just need a backhaul with a bigger bandwidth, and they don't disturb me with the license, say that Wi-Fi cannot be used to connect to the nearest Longhouse. I think it's possible. Yeah, because this is the easiest way. You have a bigger bandwidth. You have Wi-Fi, no restriction for connecting more than 1 kilometer. I don't think so. There's an issue. Yeah, we can. Yeah, the only thing I would think that is like to talk with the people that, yes, the Longhouse people, you still need to engage them. You still need to talk with them. Yeah, those engagement part for the community side, we still need to do it. We cannot just dump technology like, because I dump a gen set there and let it start by itself. It won't sustain. We need to train. We need the capacity building as well. Yeah, we need to train the people to maintain the network. We don't let them understand how it works. Yeah, then they can start to complain. Oh, this is slow. But now you tell them what is slow, what is fast. I don't think so. They can tell you what is slow and what is fast. Yeah, but once we train them, we have the capacity. Yeah, I think we are there. Yeah.
Amir bhai, last quick question. How many daras you can connect in the next 5 years, and what do you need for that?
Well, I can connect the whole Pakistan in next 5 years. What I need is some active community members, which we definitely have in Pakistan, who belongs to the rural and agriculture and farming communities. We just need the bandwidth and support from the friends like you and sitting in that shop. I think, and we need to work on it, because I already told you, food is the future. If we do not have food, we have nothing.
No, food was past, present, and future. That always be. We are not going to eat chip, or data. We certainly would need data to eat, but it won't replace that one. Well, thank you very much. If there is anything that is left to be said by anyone, please go ahead and let me know if you would like to. Otherwise, we will do a last screenshot and say goodbye to all of you. All these videos would be available online for further distribution. I would request Jenny to also share the video independently on WeTransfer to others, so that they can independently also as an attachment to their social media they can post, because usually many people like which they have a permission to add, like I have the studio permission in Twitter. so I can put any long video on the social media. That becomes very useful to do that. But let me know if there is anyone who would like to have a last word.
I think I'll go first on this one.
I have a question.
Sorry.
Is someone speaking?
No, Jenny, go ahead.
No. I wanted to ask Gary and Anshu that, I mean, we're also connecting, like both of you are associated with indigenous communities and they're new to technology and they're new to network, and there is clearly a need for connectivity there. I also was wondering whether there are any concerns about connectivity from the community. And there are two parts of community network. One is connectivity and the other one is community organization. So are there any steps to discuss community rights when it comes to data rights, privacy, anonymity? Has there been any effort, or is that a concern from the community?
I can maybe just answer Jenny a bit. Yeah, we have been doing this research with the indigenous people, and we published a paper about that because we really look at the value. We really look at the value because what we do is value design. You can't take away those values from the community because they still need to, means that you need to take care of that, because they don't want something like network coming in or internet coming in and spoil the whole values of the community. So I can share my paper here. Yeah, we published a paper, and it's talking about the value-based design, how we can actually use the values from the community and looking at the cultures and put it into the community network as well. Yeah, so this is my approach from the beginning. Never neglect their culture, never neglect their values. Yeah, all those things are very important. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. And actually, I don't think there is any concern regarding data, but there is some concern regarding if most of the people there in tribal community, they are like the first time they would be connected to internet, and there are so many some fraud and some authentication. So the main concern would be like how they should be aware about how to how to use internet safely. So that would be the main concern. Along with that, one more concern is that the area that I want to set up this W4C, that is a forest, that is nearby the forest. So how forest would be affected, like the bandwidth and all the thing, and the permission from the forest department, that would be the concern. And I think I will navigate, and most of the part I have navigated it, but I need some more, some sources and the content so that I be aware, and I can aware the community along with me that this way we can use it safely and keep in harmony, keep the W4C in harmony with the community and the forest and with the indigenous people. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. Great. Thank you very much. I think this question is not going to leave us alone. That the rest of the world, which is not connected, they come from culturally rich areas, traditionally rich areas, linguistically rich areas, indigenous communities, remote communities, very high in culture, tradition, and wisdom, local wisdom, hyper local, and therefore each and every enablement of technology and connectivity is going to ask this question: are you taking away our culture or language or our wisdom? Is there an intrusion, or is there an integration? And we don't have an absolute answer to that, but each of these connectivity is an example that is going to really teach us that how do you do last mile connectivity, last mile access, last mile digital integration in a way that the world get enriched through them, and not that it looks like that every place becomes a Manhattan shopping mall. right, in terms of cultural invasion or traditional or other kind of invasion. That's the most important part, and that is what we need to look at. And the other question that maybe in the next episode we are going to look at is that, are we going to do the last mile connectivity all through an alternative way of looking at it, or do we think that telcos will ever be interested in expanding their services in remote areas, leaving behind their ROIs not to be achieved within a stipulated time period, but giving it a longer time period to achieve it? Because that is certainly one of the reasons why telcos are not going to remote areas, and that is also the reason why, even though we are doing lot of experimentation, we are not having one standard for all. You know, there is different standard, there is different parameters, there are different models, there are different methodologies, there are different policies, there are different adaptation, there is so much of diversification. All of them are correct, but there is nothing called one standard for all, you know. So that is also something that we need to figure out, that not having a standard is the new standard, you know, and what is that new standard? Well, thank you very much with that note. Thank you, Amir Bhai. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Anshu. Thank you, Pranita. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Imani. Thank you, Adrian. And thank you, Jolly, who never come face to face, but makes sure that everybody watches what we are talking. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have the rest of the day nice for you, and sleep well if it is it is the night of the time. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Great session.
Thank
Good luck
you.
all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Bye.